Hello everyone and welcome to the December subscription tasting video. I'm all by myself today, but that's okay. I'm going to taste three very nice coffees that we're sending out to all our subscribers around the world. If you don't know what a coffee subscription is, it means that I choose three different coffees that we send out to all our subscribers around the world. Yeah, you can be in the US for instance and subscribe to our coffees. And then we send it out on the first Wednesday of the month. You can subscribe from 1 to 6 bags and you can stop and pause the subscription at any time. You can also change your address, change your subscription at any time and so on. So if you subscribe to 3 bags, you get one of each of these that I'm going to taste. And if you subscribe to 4 bags, you'll get 2 of the first coffee and then one of the rest. Hope that's clear. If you want to find out more, you can click the link below and go to our website, which is new, and then check out all our subscriptions. You can also give it away as a Christmas present because we have gift subscriptions. That means you pay a one-time fee and we take care of the rest. You can select when the recipient gets the first bags of coffee and also put in their names and address and so on. So if you're wondering about anything, just contact us and we're happy to help you. All right, let's get on with the tasting because that's why we're here. And I've selected 3 very nice coffees for Christmas, of course. It's a holiday season. So we need something nice to taste. And maybe there's no surprise that I've selected 2 of our Christmas edition coffees because they are delicious and I wanted to share those with all of our subscribers. Now, why don't we call it a Christmas coffee? We call it a Christmas edition coffee. That's because there is no such thing as a Christmas coffee. It can be whatever you like. And we want to highlight the name of the farmer and the farm when we name our coffees. So always on our bags, it will be the farm name primarily that is highlighted. And then we have selected this specifically for the holiday because we think it's a really nice coffee. It's a nice coffee that a lot of people will enjoy and that you can give away or just enjoy during the holidays. So that's why we kind of steer away from calling it a Christmas coffee because Christmas coffee can be anything. Some roasters, they select a Brazilian coffee, some roasters select a Kenyan coffee, some roasters select Indonesian coffee. It can be whatever you like. All right, let's taste the first one, which is probably one of my favorite coffees of the year, believe it or not. It's a Pacamara cultivar grown by Diego Baraona at Los Pirineos in El Salvador. And this is a washed coffee. I say washed because it's not washed in a traditional way, because Diego doesn't have a lot of water on his farm. He doesn't actually have any water source on the farm. So he collects rainwater in a big basin that he has. I think it's like 1 million gallons that he collects per year. And he uses a mechanical mucilage remover to wash the coffee after fermentation. So this coffee has actually been fermented in tanks and then they are the mucilage is removed from the parchment by a mechanical washing machine, which basically uses friction and centrifugal force to remove the mucilage. And that means you maybe remove 90 to 95% of the mucilage and some is always left on. It's a super clean coffee, but it's also quite winey, probably because of some fermentation. But also the Pacamara from this farm tend to have this kind of very tropical fruit-like flavor. And let's just taste it and I can describe the flavors. Well, this is really fruity. It's got this kind of red wine fruits, a little bit of a stone fruit and tropical fruits. Super complex coffee. I actually thought I'd mix the coffees up a little bit, but I hadn't. The Kenyan coffee we're also sending out is much more high in acidity. This is a little bit lower in acidity, but it still has a lot of that kind of Kenyan-like fruit, a lot of this red, not necessarily blackcurrant, but this kind of very winey grapes that you can buy sometimes, that has this kind of wine flavor, I guess. Super intense, it's got a lot of body, a lot of nice kind of structured acidity, but it's not very high acidity. But it's there to kind of make a good structure in the cup, and it complements the fruit flavor a lot. Now this Pacamara is actually one of the original Pacamaras because Los Pirineos, the farm, was actually used as a testing plot to develop the Pacamara cultivar. If you don't know what Pacamara is, it's actually a crossing between Maragojip, which is a very, very tall and large coffee tree, and then Pacas, which is a very short one. And I think they mixed those to kind of get something in between that produced well with high quality and big beans. So if you look at the beans in the bag, you can actually see that they are a little bit bigger than normal, and that's because the Pacamara gives you these bigger beans. There are a lot of people who don't like Pacamaras, but there are so many different Pacamaras out there because it was probably released a little bit too early, so there are many different versions of it, and it's not a 100% stable cultivar all the time. But these are like super, super nice Pacamaras, and they grow a lot of it on Los Pirineos. We've put some videos out on our Instagram account, so you can see Diego explaining a little bit about the Pacamara. So if you're interested in watching that, make sure to check out our Instagram account. So, first coffee, Pacamara, washed, or semi-washed we call it, from Los Pirineos in El Salvador. And Diego Baraona, thank you for producing such a fantastic coffee. It's one of the best Pacamaras I've had from this farm for many, many, many years. And normally they would go to the Cup of Excellence auction, so I never get to buy them. But this year, I got to buy it. Fantastic. Aye, aye, aye. Now for the second coffee. It's also one of our Christmas edition coffees, and there's no surprise that I really like and enjoy Kenyan coffees, and a lot of our fans also do. So I've selected one of the best lots we bought last year, or this year, from well, the growing season is 2022, they harvest December 2022, we buy the coffee in 2023. So it kind of looks like very old coffee, but it's actually the one that is in the current season from Kenya. This is from Karinga, which is a small washing station in Kiambu at around 1800 meters. And because they have very high altitude, most of the farms still grow the traditional varieties like SL28, SL34. Of course, there are some Batian, Ruiru, among the many farmers who deliver cherry to this washing station. And the coffee gets processed together and washed together, dried together, and then broken down into many different lots. In Kenya, they actually separate coffees on gravity on the washing station. They sort parchment while they're washing and drying, so you get the heaviest, the lightest separated always. And also on the dry mill, you separate the big beans from the smaller beans from the very small beans and so on. So this is a AA. We only buy AAs mainly, which means the bigger beans. And I prefer to buy those because they have more flavor normally and more acidity, which I really like. Let's taste it. Now, the reason why I choose a Kenyan coffee for a Christmas edition coffee is because we eat a lot of fatty foods during Christmas. And I really like having something intense in flavor and with high acidity to kind of break down the fats in the mouth. So it feels a little bit more refreshing while still being intense and full-bodied. This coffee has a lot of these kind of purple berry fruit flavors. Some wininess, very, very high and structured acidity. Super intense, super, super intense. Very, very fruity. And a lingering kind of fruity finish. Quite tart, but in a good way. I think like when you eat like ripe grapes that are still very high in acidity, you get this tartness. Now we have been buying coffee from Karinga for some years, and the washing station is, as I said, very high altitude. Kiambu is very near Nairobi, so it's just well, on a good day, it's not a very long drive, but in a normal day, maybe 2-hour drive to get there from Nairobi. And the coffees have consistently been one of my favorites for many years from this washing station. And they're doing a very, very good job there, I think. I was there a few years ago visiting and just saw how they were washing and drying the coffees, and they were taking very, very good care of it, which means you get very high quality in the cup, of course. And of course, the high altitude also gives you more intensity and more fruit flavor in the coffee. Cool, so that's the second coffee we're sending out. And compared to the Pacamara, let's just compare them for fun. Kenyan has a lot of acidity, a lot of fruit flavor. Wow, next to it, the Pacamara is more like, I wouldn't say chocolatey, but it has like more base, more kind of body, and a little bit lower acidity, while the Kenya is more like treble, very high notes, very bright, vibrant, and super refreshing. Cool. Now the third coffee is kind of a special coffee. It's the second year we buy this coffee, and not because we don't want to buy it, but because it is grown in very limited amounts. And it's a Geisha cultivar from Los Pirineos, so the same farmer, Diego Baraona, in El Salvador. His father planted some Geisha many years ago, but he only had one tree in his garden where he took seeds, and then he had to plant, wait for those to grow, plant more every year. And finally they're up in a production where they can actually sell a little bit. At least enough for us to send out to our subscribers. And they also have other customers who wants to buy this coffee, of course. So yeah, there's a little bit of battle to get these coffees, but I think it's worth it. And we sent out a Geisha last month from the Caballeros, and although they have very similar genetics, I know actually the seeds came from the same place. They do taste very different, and because Los Pirineos doesn't have the highest altitude, it's like 1400 meters at maximum, and it's a very different climate there. It's more dry, hotter than in Marcala, where Marcela and Moises have their Geisha. So you do get a very different cup profile. So I would say it's more of a kind of milk chocolate with orange flavor kind of style, rather than being the kind of mandarin, jasmine, honey, juicy style that Geisha from Marcela and Moises has, that we sent out last month. Let's taste it. Yeah, for sure. A little bit more of this kind of chocolatey style, but you have some very, very nice florals there. A lot of citrus, more like citrus peel maybe. And also a little bit of this kind of maybe spiciness in the finish. Maybe it's a floral thing, but yeah, it's a little bit spicy for me. Super sweet coffee, not the highest acidity, so a little bit lower acidity than the other geishas we normally offer. But you can definitely taste that it's a floral and kind of geisha-like variety. It's just grown in a place where most of the coffees are like really chocolatey. This is also a semi-washed coffee, so that means a little bit of fermentation, and then they wash the mucilage off with a mechanical machine, and then it's dried on raised beds on the shade like all the coffees we buy from this place. So hopefully we'll get some more of these geishas in the future. We have for sure got a few more cultivars coming out from Los Pirineos very soon, so you can look forward to that. But as for now, I really think you can enjoy these 3 very different coffees for Christmas, and they all kind of suit very well for Christmas. It's kind of fruits and a little bit of spice and orange in the last one, which are very Christmassy flavors. And of course, all Christmas coffees have the flavors of citrus and spice, but not all of them are the same. So I don't necessarily choose the coffees because the way they aromatics are. I choose the coffees because those are the ones that I want to drink for Christmas. You know, that's my taste. I hope you enjoy these coffees, and I highly recommend tasting them side by side as always. And if you don't have 3 coffees, only have 2 or just 1, make sure to taste it next to another coffee. And it makes it a little bit different to describe the flavors. It's also okay just to sit down in a good chair and drink the coffee and enjoy it. You know, it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. But until next time, or next year actually, I'll see you in the next year. I wish you a nice holiday. Merry Christmas, and for those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, happy Festivus. I'll see you next year.